Hi there, and welcome to a new live stream. I thought I'd do from time to time, a introduction to the project at the beginning of a live stream. So let's do that now. This is my to-do list, like one of my to-do lists. And let's have a look at the app as it is now. Yeah, like this. So you can see like my OS is Qubes OS 4.2. There will be soon end of life 4.2, and the current version is 4.3. But I don't think they changed what this project is about, the GUI, the GUI. Fundamentally, they didn't change it fundamentally in 4.3. I think I'll see soon as an update to 4.3. So why am I mentioning this? Because this is essentially what this project is about. So this is what you can see here is the current state of my app, but let's minimize this one and have a look at what there currently is. The GUI is mostly for the most part of for what there currently is a GUI, split into three parts. You can see here the Cube Manager. Then you have the application start menu here. Like you have the different VMs on the left hand side and applications on the right hand side that are inside the highlighted VM. And then you have the tray widget, which shows the currently running VMs and some quick actions. I think you could call them quick actions on hover. Yeah, and also shortcut to opening the Cube Manager here. So these are the GUIs to manage the Qubes OS specific functions, and there are more GUIs than this, as you can see here. For example, the global config and the backups and the restore GUIs, Qubes update GUI, template manager and template switcher, policy editor. I think this is mostly a text editor, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah, quite so. Not sure. I don't think I've ever used this GUI. Yeah, so what's my idea? My idea is to, combine, for the most part, combine this application start menu, this tray widget, and this cube manager here into one application. Now, this looks mostly like the cube manager, right, that you just saw, but there's also a graph view with, currently doesn't have any cubes visible. That's bad, because I made some changes recently. Maybe this broke something. Yeah, probably broke something. But you have a graph view. Now I'm gonna show this later on in a live stream, which let's open the room panels. At panel here, you have different rooms, and each of the room is a new, space for you to have your cubes in. And then you can move them around, and also, more importantly, see different connections, like the network relationship, or the attached devices, or the attached partitions, or policy relationships. And this would then utilize the user's spatial memory, like inside the brain. And instead of, for example, here you have alphabetical sorting, I think using spatial memory is more comfortable, in the sense of more efficient for the user. All right, so that's for the introduction. Let's get to development. So I got a lot of errors here, which probably, yeah, because I changed something recently and didn't run the app afterwards. Location in workspaces, this needs to be location in rooms. Let's see whether this is used anywhere. Apparently not. In that case, it should run just fine now. Yeah, as you can see here, you can see the network connection, which is currently selected, supposed to be selected. and this VM is powered off. Can also start it, kinda start it. It's like a prototype, right? Yeah, and shut that down again. And like that's roughly how it's supposed to look like in the final version. And you can pan around, zoom in and out. I open the applications that are inside, like selected as favorites and living inside a VM. Yeah, that's about it. And those tabs, they are somewhat transparent. I need to fix that. And they are supposed to open the settings, which are somewhat fleshed out already. I'm just not showing them because they're not loading every time I boot up the app yet, because it takes time and I don't need them right now. The settings dialog. Okay, back to the to-do list. So there is a big to-do that I want to tackle. Before I do that, let's go for the low-hanging fruit. Transparent background of tabs needs fixing. So that's in the Qubes page. Now they're not transparent anymore. I see. Okay, that's how it behaves. So that's essentially an issue with the graph view extending into the tab bar row. So anchors top, tab bars layout bottom. Make that separate from bottom. Well, table view is totally screwed up. Graph view didn't fix the issue. But I wonder why that then works for the table view. Hmm. All right, that's probably because I can imagine that because the graph view component has clip turned off. Let's see whether clipping set to true would fix it. Also remember clipping, setting it to true has a performance hit. That's why it defaults to false. Yeah, that fixes it. If this is bad for performance, then let's leave it at false. And just slap on a rectangle as a background in the column layout, which is, I don't think that works. Uh, mm, this has set 5. I'm not sure whether anchors fill tuppers layout and Z4. Yeah, that works. Let's do it like that. The color then would be Kirigami theme. Background color. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, perfect. That's fixed. Just double check that the tab row buttons are working fine still. Yeah. All right. So that's done. Right, so what I'm gonna do next is I should stop closing the app permanently, like all the time. What I want to fix next is the rooms are working just nicely for the table view. As you can see, I switched the room and the filtering is applied on the left hand side of the table. Only the VMs that are in the room are shown. Like templates, only the templates are shown, all the VMs are shown that are currently present in this prototype. Graph view doesn't do anything. Well, it throws me back to table view. That's what happens. That's not supposed to happen. But more importantly, like I select templates, I go back to graph view. The table, the tabs are sorted. Like I don't have any configuration tabs open in templates, so these tabs all disappear. That's supposed to happen. But what I want to now, like this is quite the core part of the VM, that as soon as you select a room, then you get a new room on the left hand side. That's not happening right now. You just always have the one same room that looks like here, you know. Just this. Oh, that was strange. Okay, I need to fix that. Yeah, but I want to implement that first, and then I'm gonna fix this movement bug here. Okay. Wat dat to do for the movement bug? The zoom level is not equal 1. Okay. But first I'm gonna do the setup room function and functionality in the graph view QML file. Right, big fat to do. But to start. So first I'm going to have a look at how the GraphView QML file is currently structured. Maybe I should view the outline. That could be helpful here. I essentially don't use it usually, but now it could be helpful. So I think first of all, I should separate the UI element, like the floating toolbars, from the flickable. Flickable contains the cubes and stuff. This is essentially the room, and these two here are the UI elements you see in the pane. And just need to fix one more thing. Okay. Or maybe put the flickable in a loader. And the loader in a stack layout. Let's see how I done the tab bar loading. That should work just the same way. No, outline is not useful for me. Qubes page has the tab bar and the loader and the stack layout. Yeah, this thing here loads all the tabs. So what I need to do most likely is source component, make a separate component out of the flickable. So let's add a new file. There would be essentially GraphView room. No GraphView. Just gonna take the flickable and yeah, just move it, copy paste it. Not sure whether, I mean, that's gonna need work, but let's keep it here so I can restore a functional state. I mean, it's also in the Git version control, but I'm not too knowledgeable about Git yet. I just use it as a backup tool essentially. Yeah, let's just cut it. Okay. And we have the two toolbars left, essentially, in the graph here. So let's put this thing here, stack layout, with the repeater and the loader in there. So that's the rooms. Switchable rooms view. And yeah, index, I need to figure this one out. But anchors will parent. Like the room takes up the whole space of this graph view component. Then the right, so the model repeater takes the loaded rooms, not all rooms, just the currently loaded rooms. So they will, once you open up a room, it will remain in RAM. Yeah, indefinitely for now. Not sure how to handle this properly. When to kick out a room from the RAM. Maybe with some timer. That's something for later. So loaded rooms model, and let's make a list element for now. We get the room name. Let's just make personal for now. And yeah, what else? I mean, last used would be, you know, interesting. Let's just make some I don't know, just some dummy string. But this is for later on. Memory management, and yeah, I think that's it. So active true means it instantly fires, loads. So crowd property string room name and an index. Source component is always the graph view room. component. Add this one down there. Unload it. Do nothing for now. Let's just keep this for, I think, pretty sure we need this later onwards. And yeah, obviously the graph view component needs to be passed essentially a parameter. Not sure how to do that. Let's see. Like this component needs to know the room that is currently being loaded. Ask the Claude. Loader set source function. So look at that in the documentation. Set source. All right. Seems to be a thing. But then the repeater is not required anymore. This one possibly not either. So I'm expecting this to just fire up several components, or like just like for every loaded room, one of a component, just loading them into the stack layout. That's what I expect to happen. And then I set the room name to loaded rooms model get j, get at the index j. I think that's the function. Get at index, yes. Get at j and the room name. And so down there, this one is not needed. So current index would, let's just set this at 0. All right. Now we need to fix the references, like cross-referencing between the two. Then it should show up just like it previously did. Let's see, flick surely is queried, like accessed. Yeah. I suppose the flick. So essentially, whenever the flick is like in a graph view, flick is accessed, it needs to point to the flick of the currently active room. So we need to do some, I guess, binding. For example, here in the onloaded function, unloaded code area. So I got the same thing in the Qubes page. you can access, for example, I could access the flick using this item here and then flick. Let's see how to approach this best. Okay. Make a connection. Target switchable rooms view. Children at current index. And the item, which is the graph view room. Not sure what these double question marks do. Find out. So that's not exactly what I want to do. Okay. It's stacked out here. So let's add a on current index changed. So whenever the room is changed, which is the current index, like indexed by the current index, I want, so I introduce a property called flick, initialized to null, because this is what I use here or everywhere, right? So flick. So I want to, whenever the current index changes, I want to set my flick, and how's the page called? Qubes graph view, or a component. Flick, I want to set that one to the switchable rooms view. I'm not sure whether this is required here. Apparently not. So the loaders, this is the item that is being loaded, that it has been loaded by the loader. And flick, because flick is exposed. So what I expect here to happen is that I get a reference saved to flick, and then this code here can access the reference of the currently visible room. Yeah, and then I just need to do this for all the stuff that is accessed here in the GUI elements. Just a lot. See what else we need. Content layer repeater, what's that? That's something that needs exposing. So that's initialized to null, and then set down here. Then the content layer. What's that? Something from here, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. What else? I mean, I can just run it and look at the warnings. Right? Yeah, it needs to be war. I'm able to find ID flick. Sure whether that works. Probably gonna complain about null not having an attribute zoom. On cube state changed. So, well, good thing is most of it works already. Okay, so the connections are the problem now. So they are being created by this connection object creator. Content layer is accessed. So the object is created as a child of content layer. And GraphView has a content layer, but is set to null initially. And the cube connections are added when on completed of this GraphView QML file. But it obviously should be populated inside the GraphView room instead. Yeah, even though the room is not loaded yet when the connections are attempted to be loaded. So this stuff needs to go this here to there. Oops, need that line here. So connections are here now, somewhat, like starting to be there. And need this function. Build Qubes connections model. And need Qube connections model. Let's do one by one. Need the add cube connection function. Callback func. This cube connection added. We are doing that now. So, and the connection object creator needs to be imported. Then the cube connections references model. Where's that one used? Oh, append. Okay, so we need that one here as well. Okay. Let's see whether it works. Empty the block first. Right. GraphQL room doesn't have a room name properly yet. The graph view cannot read. Yeah. Of null. This should. No, it's not fixed. So flick is null for some reason. Still. Because the never got initialized. Yeah, let's just put this in the uncompleted area too. null. Oh, okay. Right. Seems to work. Now the question being, yeah, loaded rooms model, what to do with this one. And we got inside the graph view. We got the, not the graph view, the graph view room. Got the room name now available to us. So we can base the loaded cubes on this variable. So the cubes are loaded. I'm surprised this works. Floating toolbar orientation vertical. I mean, it probably works because this is a child of this one, and this one has these available. But let's check whether this really works. So this is the wheel with control. Button pressed. Yeah, that works. Good. I didn't know that you know, this is, I mean, this here needs to expose in order to be available in a graph view, but graph view room doesn't need, like graph view doesn't need to expose the, for example, this variable here, this ID, in order to be accessible in its children, which is good. So the room name, and there's a repeater somewhere here. The repeater picks in the cubes model and creates graph view cube. That this component is like the little colored rectangles. Now it shouldn't take the cubes model anymore, but a cubes in this room model. um, I'm not no this shouldn't be built manually. I can use a proxy model for that. Well, I have a room filtered cubes model already. Page cubes. I mean, maybe that works. Instead of taking the whole cubes model, just load in page cubes, room filter cubes model. For example, I don't know whether this seems to be not working because it's not syntax highlighted. Apparently I can't access page cubes from here. Okay, this makes sense so far because we are in all room, in the all room. Let's switch to personal. I think they're all in person too. Let's switch to Unix. Yeah, it works. Unix arts. Yeah, works. Cool. Just the connections. I need to now work with my connections. Because that doesn't work anymore the way I created connections previously. Okay, but that's huge progress for me, that is. So what needs to be done on that's not quite correct because this model like I want several rooms to be in RAM at the same time, but this then would be the way to go if only one room is in the RAM and this room is constantly changing. Those two different approaches. Um, So we'll just create a proxy model for every room. Yeah. And just for being precise, so this room filtered cubes model would just be hold the cubes that are in the currently selected room. And this one here holds the cubes that are in the, well, in this room that is currently loaded in the stack layout. So there can be many of here, of this one, but there's only one here. So this is used for then for the table view and for which tabs to show. And this one is used for which tabs are shown in the room that is currently loaded. Like this instance of this graph view room.qml component. Okay, that's line 26 of graph view room. Okay, happy with the progress. Just thinking whether to take a break or end the live stream here. I think I'm going to end the live stream here. So thank you for watching and until next time. Bye-bye.